Trying hard is my thing. Everything I do will bling. I can both dance and sing with you as my right wing. That, ladies and gentlemen, is what I felt most proud about during my teenage years. Now, I know that this is not what you expect to come from a TEDx speaker, but please bear with me as I unravel my different sets of personalities. I call this the teacher's kid, where I was expected to act completely perfect and to score the highest grades. An angel, in other words. But that did not exactly make me fit in with my rebellious friends, which brings us to the devilish gangster, where I appeared gangsterish, braided my hair, and snuck out of the house every time I got grounded. And basically, any rapper who intoxicated himself with drugs and looked cool was my idol. And finally, here stands the real Leila, who seemed lost between those two distinct worlds, but eventually found herself through her secret talent. She tried to balance playing the role of the teacher's kid and the devilish gangster simultaneously. And let me tell you guys that these two personalities are extremely different. So it was natural for this to happen. After she had disconnected with many of her friends and assigned the book as her best buddy, Leila got carried away by the incredible rise of social media. Haven't we all? She tried to be a fashion blogger at one time. Yes, I tried to advertise those international brands, thinking that I would one day become, a local fashion icon, and that people would actually approach me to ask me about my secret beauty tips and fashion style. But then my iPad breaks, and this was never posted anywhere, thank goodness. And I never even bothered to try again, but I guess that this time being lazy paid off, huh? And at another time, I even attempted to be a news anchor, which by the record is still a thing I would want to become, as I still chase local news reporters on the streets every time I get the chance. And many of you guys have probably witnessed the campaigns on the streets shortly before the Lebanese elections, and how many news reporters were asking the citizens to comment on the political situation. And well,
هاي أول سنة بصير في انتخب بس لا.
ايه انا شخصيا لا.
بدي انتخب حدا لأنه ما حدا عم يعمل شيء للبنان.
I lied about my age just to appear in that video. Nevertheless, what had remained sacred and untouched up until that moment was my hidden talent, my passion, and my utmost sentiment, poetry. Poetry was and still is the real fire within me. So I thought that this is it. This is the real Leila. This is me. I got ecstatic and so excited. I could combine any word that rhymed into a paper and boom, poetry. So I started writing scattered words, phrases, sentences on anything that I laid my hands on, fully unlocking my maximum potential and creativity. And well, you'd probably want to see a sample. I wrote your name on the sand, and then I joined your band. That is when you made me understand your love is nothing, to be frank. And now you guys know why it remained a secret. But really, no one had access to any of my poetry, not even my parents. However, in 10th grade, my English teacher, whom I cherished greatly, was the first and only person to know about it. So I gave her a sample of my writing shortly before the academic year was over. And as summer passed and we were expected to meet again, I changed schools and she later passes away. I never really knew what she thought about my poetry or how she actually found it. And so from that moment on, never again with my poetry. You could say I took it as a sign, or maybe I was just too saddened by the news. But the whole idea of wanting to become different amidst the madding crowd was just too incomprehensible for me. Change my poetry, you say? I did. I wanted to turn my I love you, you love me, to thy eyes have met thou soul. Oh, hi, Shakes. I literally put this guy's poems in front of me and tried to recreate one on my own that looked exactly like his. And it took me a whole 2 months to realize that I couldn't do it. But that Leila did not give up just yet. See, my late grandfather had been known as the poet of Mount Lebanon. He had this beautiful tradition of dedicating a poem in Arabic on his own to each of his children when they were born. And my initial reaction to this, of course, was, wow, the light he had must have been descended to me. So I translated his poems, and I also tried to copy his style. And that did not work either. It was just too hard. And to make things even worse, is that during my second university year, I finally got the chance to stand on stage and to speak to an audience for a whole of 5 minutes and about integrity, supposedly a very sensible subject. Now, the perfectionist side of Leila had expected her to rank first in that speech competition. And when she didn't, her confidence hit rock bottom. Everything was falling apart for Leila. I started to doubt myself, and I started to take everything as a sign that it's just not meant to be. My teacher's passing, the competition failure, my inability to match my own iconic role models. Hold on. Look at that sentence. Match my own iconic role models. That was the problem. I was trying to be them. This is very simple. They had a principle that I had to follow in order to be just as good as they were. But what was I doing? What happened to my personality? Where did my individuality go? I was being a copycat all over again. And the thing is that Leila did not realize she could create her own path in writing. And it hit me then that these guys were iconic because each one of them had his own rule and principle to follow. Otherwise, wouldn't they all be the same? And so when I realized that I could, I invented my own rule, the 3W, to write whatever, whenever, and wherever. So I decided that I'm going to write whatever I want, and whenever I feel like it. And now, one person who encouraged this rule of mine further is my best friend, Mira, who happens to be here with us today. When she first discovered this talent in me, she kept on pushing me and pushing me and pushing me until she suggested one awesome thing. That Mira, as an artist, would combine her drawings with my writings. And that one sample of this collaboration would look like, on the condition that I publish my poems first. Do the math. And so I did. I published my poems in an online community for writers. And this is the time where I can proudly say that I have used social media wisely. So I started to gain followers from all across the globe. Some liked, some commented, others even reposted. But I never cared about the numbers. I wrote only for the sake of writing and of sharing my personal thoughts. And I wanted to share these personal thoughts with other writers who, I don't know, might have went under the same journey as I did. But the most important thing to me is that I was able to break that wall down and to climb that mountain to reach the real Leila. Sing to me, tell me words of wisdom, praise my love, drive me mad into eternity, shatter my world, break me into pieces, have a glimpse of my soul, touch my mind, ecstasy. So today I look at my poems as a timeline of my life. from the cliche rebellious teenage writer to the very well-defined, refined poet. Now, I know that I may have sounded like I hated being a copycat. We're all taught never to be one, right? But that is not my message. My message for you today is that we've all been copycats at some point of our lives. But instead of denying it and being embarrassed from it, I want you all guys to embrace it. I want you to embrace that character in you because it is one major part that will guide you through the unknown future and define your personality. This is the real Leila. For now. As finding yourself is one infinite journey. Thank you.